So this is the first in my series of real people boats. Real people, including me. This is a great day boat, 22 feet. She's a classic, she's a Donzi, she's 20 years old. There's quite a lot of them around, easily available, very easy to own, great fun. She's capable of, I've managed just under 60 mile an hour pretty easily. She's got a single stepped hull. Price of these boats range from around 22,000 up to around 36, 37 for a really good one like this. I've done a few upgrades. We're going to take her out. I'm going to show you around the boat, what all the controls do, how she handles, how to drive a boat like this particularly. And then it will lead into my next comparison, which will be a 22-foot classic Lyman. And I'll be looking at a few boats through the next period of time that I have to look at these kind of boats, and we'll be driving them. Anyway, so let's take a look around. So let's start with a bit of history with Donzi. Donzi was founded by essentially the founder of what we call go fast boats, a man called Don Arno, who was also responsible for Cigarette, being an offshore world racing champion, phenomenal boat builder. Anything with his name behind it is a fabulous boat. This particular boat, they made quite a lot of them. She's denominated a ZX. The ZX line of Donzis were a slightly softer version of the ZR. You can still buy a 22-foot Donzi today, but you'll be looking at a 22-foot classic and you'll be north of $100,000 for one of those. But this is a very reasonable boat. She's very, very cheap to run. Typical servicing you can expect, just a regular yearly annual service, about $300, $350. Big service around $700, which for a boat this performance is pretty good. Engine wise, she's a 350 Mercruiser, 350 MPI, running out around 300 horsepower, driving an Alpha 1 drive, which is a bit clunky but very strong, very serviceable, very easy to work with, and very reliable, which is really what you want of a boat of this type. She's easy to trail and just great fun to own. You can see she's classic go fast lines, long bow. She has a step in the hull, a single step, which ventilates the hull, which you'll understand how that works when I drive the boat when we take her out. It significantly increases the speed, but also makes her a little bit edgy, as with any stepped hull. I'll show you what that looks like. And there is your step. So what that does is when you lift the bow, that brings air under the hull, aerates and lifts the whole boat up out of the water. So let's take a look around. So nice little touches on this boat. She's got pop-up cleats aft. Much typical problems with go fast boats, or a lot of small boats, I always find not enough cleats. So we've only got a cleat here midships, and we've got a single one forward. My only real add-on would be, if I was going to say Donzi, just add another cleat here, but then they'd argue it might spoil the lines or someone's going to knock their toe on it, so I can understand that. So we have a hydraulic engine hatch. Nice thing about single engine boats, tons of room to get around the engine. This one has a really nice clean bilge. Another nice thing, 2 sets of batteries, which is great on a boat of this size, because if you're running stereos and things like that, it's pretty easy to run down a battery if you've left it for a little bit, and you can just switch over to the other one, or you can notch it to both, and then you can run both batteries in tandem and use the alternator to charge the engine. So very simple. You've got oil checking, you've got oil filter here on top, your risers here running to straight through exhaust. As we move forward, I've done a few upgrades on this boat. So I added some LED lit cup holders, backlit LED speakers within the sound system. There's a very cool Kenwood unit behind here, which is a 400 watt amp, which just has a Bluetooth interface, and as everyone knows, we just use our phones for everything now, so this is brilliant. And the range is like 50 feet, and it's perfectly adequate for 4 high-powered speakers. We've got a USB port, which I had, and this was just a panel I have made up, and it got rid of the old CD player. Personally, I haven't seen a CD in about 15 years, so that was a nice, really simple upgrade. Steering wheel, I went to town on this. That's an Isotta steering wheel. It's the same one you get on the $600,000-$700,000 Donzis they make now. And I also changed the throttle controls. This is by Hardin Marine, which is a split throttle. There's your tilts for the drives, there's trailer, there's obviously your kill cord, and forward, reverse, and neutral where we are in the middle. And of course your sticky phone holder. We have trim tabs, which is also good on a boat this size. You don't tend to use them very much unless you've got a little bit more weight maybe on the port side or the starboard side and you want to just trim the boat straight. Very nice clean switches. You've got horn, you've got engine room lights, cockpit lights, which as I mentioned, I upgraded to all LED, and we've got navigation lights, which there's a single one on the bow, red and green, and then you have a plug-in into that receptacle there, which gives you your anchor light or your stern light. Bilge pump, and then you've got your engine hatch, which is hydraulic, which I'll drop down. And then we've got blower here, which obviously you run to get any fumes out the engine bay before you start her up. Always a good idea, or really a necessity in a gasoline powered boat. Always run your blowers when you're starting up, and at least for a good 5 minutes after you're running. And you have a nice little crawl through here, which I wouldn't say you could sleep down here, but certainly great for covers, life jackets, all that sort of stuff. So now we're done with the boat, let's take her for a ride. Okay, so now we're out in the water, just come off the dock. This boat has a four-bladed propeller running very simply through, as I said, an Alpha 1 drive. What a four-bladed prop does, it gives you a lot of grip on the water, so it makes it a nice easy boat to handle. The one thing though that you do get with a boat of this type, it will hunt a lot. So when you're at slow speed, it will try and wander, but that's pretty typical of this kind of boat. If you have a twin engine installation, it does not do this so much, but you really can't get a 22-foot boat with a twin engine installation. It's not big enough. So it's typical single engine stuff. Maneuvering is done by nudges. So if you want to bring the nose to the right at slow speed, little nudge, and the nose will nicely drift around for you. And you can just continue doing so. You can spin it around its own length. Reverse is a whole different ball game because unfortunately with a propeller, single propeller particularly, you get something called prop walk. So it will turn at a different rate depending on which direction you're in at different speeds. So this particular boat, the way the prop is pitched, it will pull to the left significantly more than it will to the right. But generally that's atypical of pretty much every single engine outboard or stern drive boat. So if you're thinking of buying a boat, first boat, single engine boat, it's not going to behave like a car. I know this video is going to be watched by people that are very proficient boat owners, and I'm not trying to preach to anybody that knows what they're talking about, but this is for somebody that's considering their first boat, and this is a really cool, sexy, relatively inexpensive boat to buy that it's perfectly capable of scaring the living daylights out of you in the first instance, but with some tuition, with some skill set, with a couple of boat courses, some powerboat boating courses would certainly be a very good idea. This boat could certainly be easily managed by someone with a low level of experience. So we're going to take her out onto the lake and I'm going to show you what she can do. I'm also going to give you an explanation of how a vented hull, a stepped hull works, and you'll see the performance level that you get when you have a stepped hull comparative to a regular, say a bow rider that's just a regular non-stepped high performance hull. So once we get to the no wake zone, we'll start again and we'll get some performance boating in. Alrighty, so we're out in the lake, nice and flat. Let's see what she's got. she picks up her heels pretty quick, and the bottom is not as clean as it could be. So we're up and planing. I've got the bow down. We're currently running at around, not around, we are running at 30 miles an hour. So I'm going to lift the bow. Instantly we gain more speed. And now we are flying. This is a nice, happy 50 miles an hour. She turns sharply, grips. Very nicely. And if you drop the bow down again, she turns into a pussycat. Plenty of grip, no tail slides, none of the scary stuff you get with big go-fasts. And then of course we've got that big acceleration. Now we lift the bow again. More speed very, very quickly. Again, running at over 50 miles an hour. Donzi really does know how to make a fantastic boat with a great hull. She handles beautifully, she turns in sharply. She'll tail slide, you'll feel that. More grip, lean in, now you got grip. Speed through the corner. She really is a thoroughbred, a true flying machine. This may not be to everybody's taste, but I think if you're looking for a boat that runs at this kind of pace, that's this easy to drive, at speed with a little bit of competency, a little bit of sensibility and a little bit of understanding, it's a fabulous boat to own. Makes a lovely noise. It can be a little bit of a handful, but any boat of this size would be. You can use her for island hopping in sensible weather. And she really is a lot of fun. Very well, steers beautifully, enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe.